Pennsylvania officials have barely passed a goal perceiving 2023 as the Taylor Swift period in her home state. Swift, 34, spent the initial 13 years of her life on a homestead in Wyoming, and representatives on Wednesday referred to that legacy while endorsing the proposition by a vote of 103 to 100. To some degree disruptive, the uncommon arrangement promotes how Swift plays rose above the part of pop star, and perceives her accomplishments over the course of the last year, including being named Times Individual of the Year. Most conservatives casted a ballot against the privileged measure, as did a couple of liberals, in spite of it being presented by 8 Pennsylvania reformists Wednesday night. An hours-long contention about whether to perceive 2023 as the pop star's year in the end resulted, where cases lauding her sure effect on Pennsylvania's economy and elector enlistment numbers immediately sounded accurate. Not long before it passed, Speaker Representative Joanna McClinton, a leftist from Philadelphia, insubordinately gave her own interpretation of the verses of Swift's track Shake It Off, telling the people who intended to cast a ballot against, critics going to detest, disdain, 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 disdain. Representative Stephanie Borowicz, a conservative, answered by addressing what the direction, as a general rule, really implied, prior to naming it a futile effort by the ever-evolving left. What a joke of the State House gathering of Pennsylvania, Borowicz said of the proposition, which would proceed to be scarcely passed after some to and fro. This is the leftist alliance, however, venerating Hollywood, the official proceeded. Giving Taylor Swift a time while our veterans get a day. Representative Russ Jewell, another conservative, was significantly more pointed with his comments, reminding the in excess of 200 legislators how Swift said a final farewell to her home state when she moved to Tennessee to seek after her singing vocation. Utilizing one more Swift verse to outline his point, the 60-year-old moderate essentially expressed, "We are never at any point reuniting." Such pokes prodded Representative Johanny Sepidophraites, a liberal who casted a ballot in favor, to energetically pop off, "I truly love that we can have a great time while we work." Regulative Representative Michelle Martin, in the meantime, was the one to open up the conversation, asking the House it would consent to the goal and its perceiving the year 2023 as the Taylor Swift period in Pennsylvania. Language utilized in the regulative activity would proceed to set up the pop star as a good example who has given pleasure to a general public frantically needing it, while spreading out how Swift has floated the neighborhood economy on her visit stops in Philly and Pittsburgh. Swift's effect as a lady was a selling point, with it perceiving her particular financial and social impact as illustrating the force of female organization, female thoughts, female workmanship, and an unmistakably ladylike story. Swift encouraging fans to the surveys during races in August, bringing about a record number of enrollments, too had an impact, after beforehand causing some clamor from conservatives who felt the performer was unreasonably utilizing her star power. Further referring to how the megastar, whose enormous visit procured her tycoon status this year, beat down figures like Vladimir Putin, Barbie, and Sam Altman for the distinction of Times Individual of the Year this month. The goal attests, Ms. Swift sparkles as a good example of boldness, self-acknowledgement, and self-assurance, continuing notwithstanding private and expert impediments and difficulties. We are recognizing the year 2023 as the Taylor Swift time in Pennsylvania, in Festival of Miss Swift's new choice as Time Magazine's 2023 Man of the Year, an affirmation of her certain effect on Pennsylvania's economy, citizen enrollment numbers, customer insurances, and favorable to work rehearses. It adds,